Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to another edition of Player Ratings. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, all of that good stuff. And as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And Chelsea made it 5 wins on the spin against Gent in the Conference League, 4-2 winners at Stamford Bridge, more goals. Couple of stoppy errors at the back, but the momentum keeps going. Good minutes for players. First goal for Dewsbury Hall, first goal for Veiga. And yeah, Maresca keeps on rolling. But let's dive into the player ratings then, guys. And we saw, a number of changes again, as we expected. The same team that lined up against Barrow, except for Malo Gusto wasn't there. The Sassy came in, shifted out to right back, and Tosin came in at centre half alongside Benoit Badiashile. But other than that, the exact same team that played against Barrow. And what you could say is that the B team, even though Maresca insists it's all one team, which is fair enough. But let's dive into these ratings. And it was another outing for Philip Jorgensen. Yeah, he didn't really have very much to do. We're going to be really honest here. I mean, we didn't really learn anything more about him. We didn't really find out anything more about his ability as a goalkeeper. He passed out from the back well. He got beaten by a very good header. Nothing he could do about either goal, to be perfectly honest. And the very little that he did have to do, he did it well. So I would give Jorgensen a 6 out of 10. And yeah, these games that he's played in so far, Barrow and then Servette and Gent, he's not really had an awful lot to do. So it's quite hard to get a judgment of really where we're at with him as a goalkeeper right now. But I would give Philip Jorgensen a 6 out of 10. Moving on to Axel Disasi then, captaining the side again. Captain the side against Barrow, captain the side against Gent as well. And he was at right back. And I know a lot of Chelsea fans don't want to see the Sassy at right back anymore, but in games like this, against this level of opposition, you can, within reason, get away with it, and we did get away with it. I don't think he got particularly exposed or anything like that. I thought, yeah, I tell you what, he done 2 very good passes. There was one really good switch of play in the first half where he just sprayed a raking pass over to Mudryk, and then probably even better than that was his assist for Pedro Neto's goal. A really, really nice ball over the top. And you know what? He actually played reasonably well at right back. I'll give him credit for that. I thought the Sassy had a good evening, but I don't really expect to see too much of him in the Premier League, if we're being really honest. But I'd give him a 7 out of 10 for his performance last night. Fair play to him. Moving on to the centre-backs then. Obviously, we had Tosin Adarabioyo alongside Benoit Badiashile. Tosin, I actually thought he done really well. He looks cool. He looks calm, composed on the ball. His selection of passes were good. The one blemish on his performance was obviously just completely allowing the Gent guy to have a free header in the box to score. He just left him completely unmarked. That's really the only blotch on his performance, but he seems to be slowly growing into life at Chelsea. And look, he needs to do more to maybe get himself into that first team and break up that Colwell and Fofana partnership. But his start to life at Chelsea has been pretty good. But yeah, as I said, the one thing that let him down was obviously letting the Gent player have a free header in the box to make it 2-1. But I'd give probably Tosin, I think, a 6 out of 10 for his performance is entirely fair. Moving on to the left back then, moving on to not Renato Veiga. Sorry, I'll get to him next. Moving on to Benoit Badiashile. And again, he wasn't awful, but he just looks, he's obviously calm on the ball, but his composure is a lot better than his defending. He did get caught on his heels a couple of times, and I just don't really know what's happened to this guy, because it definitely doesn't seem to be the same guy that we signed from Monaco and then that really impressed in his first 6 months at the club. And we're still kind of really waiting for Badiashile to find his feet again, and he simply doesn't seem to be finding them. He wasn't awful, but there was nothing particularly great. I'd probably say he was a touch better than average, but yeah, it is a concern. I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't at the club next season. I'll be totally honest. I really wouldn't be surprised if he was moved on next summer. I just don't really see how he's going to break into the first team other than playing in the cup competitions. But then obviously we get in Champions League next year. There's going to be much less rotation and he's not going to really be getting very many minutes at all. So I think this could be his last season at the club. It wasn't awful, but yeah, he just, I don't know what's happened to him. I'd give him a 5.5 for his performance. Moving on to Renato Veiga then. My personal man of the match. look, I'm happy to admit that I knew nothing about this guy before we signed him. I'd never even heard of him. But for 12 million quid, the early evidence is suggesting that this guy is looking like a real bargain. He's a physical specimen. He's young. I think he's 21 years of age. Can play multiple different positions. We've seen him in midfield. We've seen him filling at centre back. We've seen him play left back. We've seen him invert into midfield from left back. And at times, he's playing like an attacking midfielder against Gent at times. Picking up that space in the left pocket and whatnot. So I was really, really impressed with him. He loves being there. He loves the club. He gets what it means already. And he took his goal really well. Nice cross from Mudryk and a really good header. And the early signs for Renato Veiga are really, really promising. And I really liked what I saw from him again. And he's going to have a really important role to play in this squad just because he can fill so many different positions. And he seems to be pretty good when he does play. And you always need those types of players in the squad if you're going to be a success and if you're going to go far on multiple fronts. And Renato Veiga is looking like an absolute bargain at £12 million. My man of the match, as I said. So I'd give Veiga an 8 out of 10 for his performance. I was really, really impressed with what I saw from him last night. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how he's going to develop at Chelsea moving forwards over this season and of course the years to come. Moving into midfield then, we had obviously Cesare Casadei and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall in there. Starting with Casadei, I thought this was an improvement from his performance against Barrow. I've seen some people saying they thought he was really, really good. I thought he was good, but I don't think he wasn't anything amazing in my opinion. Obviously had one wayward attempt at goal, but I thought he got stuck in well. He made some good challenges. He looked all right on the ball. But yeah, if I'm being real, as I said, after the game, I don't see how he's got a long-term future at Chelsea. He's not better than Ugo Chukwu. He's not better than Santos. And he's not getting in ahead of Enzo, Lavia or Caicedo. So the only way that he really plays is on a Thursday night or if we have an injury crisis in the Premier League. And that for me is, he's not going to develop much as a footballer if that's what his minutes are going to be. Look, he's a big lad. He's physically imposing. He's good on the ball. There's some good attributes there, but yeah, I'm not convinced. But this performance was fine. It was an improvement from Barrow. I'd give him a 6 out of 10 as well. I don't think he was awful, but I don't think I saw anything where I was like, oh wow, this guy could force his way in. He absolutely isn't going to be forcing his way in. Moving on to Dewsbury-Hall then, the Leicester Lampard, as I dubbed him after the game. Really pleased for him, really pleased for him to get his goal. And you can see how much it meant to him, can see how much it meant to his teammates. It's difficult for him. It's a difficult adjustment because he's gone from being the main man at Leicester last season, playing every single week, the go-to guy, and now at Chelsea he's come in and he's not that guy. He's not playing that regularly, but this was an important game for him, and I thought he'd done well. Again, like against Barrow, he started a little bit slow, but he grew into the game, took his goal well, played a couple of really good passes, and hopefully this will be a big boost for his confidence moving forwards. I liked what I saw from Dewsbury-Hall last night, and I think a 7 out of 10 for his performance is fair. And as he adjusts to Chelsea, as he adjusts to the step up in standards, maybe over the course of the next few months, and as the seasons go by, he could prove to be a really, really important squad depth player for us. And so let's hope that is the case. But yeah, I don't think he's done enough to force his way into the Premier League team yet. He may well get there, but right now he's going to have to make the most of his opportunities in the cup competitions, and then the minutes that he does get from the bench and whatnot in the league, then he's going to have to really grasp that with both hands. But look, an impressive night for him, and I'm really, really pleased for him. He's had a lot of stick from supporters since he's come here, and I don't think it's deserved. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for Dewsbury-Hall. Moving on to that front four then. Let's start with Joao Felix then. Obviously, unused sub against Brighton. I'll be honest, I didn't think he was great last night. A couple of nice bits here and there on the ball, but he struggled to impose himself on the game. He didn't really get into the game. And I expected a little bit more from him. I expected a bit better from him. People know my thoughts on Felix. The talent's obviously there, but I still believe that the idea of him is far, far better than the reality of him. But, he's here. I want him to do well. I want him to prove me wrong. But last night was not great from him. I'll be honest. It really wasn't that good. It wasn't awful, but I expected more. I expected him to maybe, step up and deliver and be a bit of a difference maker. And he simply wasn't. So it was a little bit better than average, but other than that, I really don't think he was that great. So I'm going to go for a 5.5 out of 10 for Joao Felix. Moving on to Mykhailo Mudryk. Another big night for Mudryk. I thought Mudryk was decent, I thought he was good. Decision making seems to be improving. Really good cross for the goal. Got his head up, looked up, played the perfect ball. And obviously Veiga headed that in. He looked dangerous. He had the beating of the fullback on a number of occasions. Yes, there's still things that he can improve on, but this was another positive step in the right direction for Mudryk. And maybe, he might find himself getting some minutes from the bench in the Premier League going forwards if he keeps playing like this. But this was a step in the right direction. Obviously, we need to see more, but I was really pleased, and it seems like he is learning under Maresca, and he is adapting his game, and he's adapting to what the gaffer is asking from him. I thought this was a step in the right direction for Mudryk personally, so I'd give him a 7 out of 10. Moving on to Pedro Neto then, starting on that right-hand side. A lot of people have been calling for him to start instead of Noni Madueke. I think there's a chance that happens against Nottingham Forest on Sunday. Neto, I felt, was good, took his goal really, really well in the second half, a real nice finish. He was a threat down that right-hand side. And he offers something a little bit different to Madueke. And I thought this was, again, another positive performance from Neto, and done his chances of getting into that Premier League 11 absolutely no harm whatsoever. So I would give Neto a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was a touch better than Mudryk, so I'll give him a 7.5 out of 10 for his performance. And to round things out then, Christopher Nkunku, another goal. Chelsea's top scorer in all competitions this season, I believe. I thought he had a pretty quiet game, but as what all top players do, even if you have a quiet game, you still get yourself on the score sheet. The one chance that he really had, he took it, he scored, well taken. Has he done enough to get into the Premier League side on a regular basis? No, not yet. Jackson obviously offers far more than he does in my view, and in Maresca's view as well. So yeah, look, this was okay from Nkunku. Got the goal. He was alert in that moment when we needed him to be. But other than that, I felt he, like Felix, struggled to get into the game and struggled to have too much of an impact. But another goal, you can't complain. And for me, I'd say I'd give him a 6.5 out of 10 for his performance. Obviously, the subs we saw, Tyreek George and Mark Guiu come on, didn't really play long enough to warrant a rating, but nice to see them get some minutes. Anyway, but yeah, guys, that's just my player ratings. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you agree or disagree with me. Smash the like, subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV, and I'll catch you again in another one soon. Up the Chelsea, and peace out.